The United States is falling behind in the clean energy race and is now third behind China. The Pew Charitable Trust says that the United States has attracted $34 billion in clean energy finance and investment. But worldwide, investments rose 30% to a record $243 billion. Joining us now with more is the former governor of Michigan, Jennifer Granholm. She's now a senior advisor for the Pew Charitable Trust. And I do know that Bloomberg New Energy is working with Pew on getting some of these statistics out and raising awareness of them. Governor, thank you for coming on the show today. Why did one of the world's biggest polluters jump up to the #1 spot in development of clean energy?
Right. I mean, China's #1. Germany jumped over us. And the reason is that these other countries are moving up is because they have national clean energy policy and the United States does not. In fact, in this sector, Margaret, since 2004, there has been a 630% increase in private sector investments. And this Bloomberg New Energy report, or with help from Bloomberg, demonstrates that the private sector will follow, investments will follow where policy exists to make a market for them. And the United States has not done that. So, it's true that we have got to get our act together because every single day with the growth of this sector, businesses are making decisions about where to locate. They're not going to locate in the United States if we don't have a market here that makes it good for them to sell their products.
Yeah, I mean, China's competitive on so many fronts, including just the cost of labor there. But on your point of getting support from their government, China's going to supply like half of the market in solar energy this year. How does the U.S. catch up to that? I mean, what kind of money needs to come from Congress?
Well, first of all, there has to be policy. So we have to make a commitment as a nation that we're going to get a certain percentage of our energy from renewable sources. That market will then dictate that policy and that investments will follow. So Congress needs to step up and say, like a number of states have done, but we need a national policy that we're going to get, say, 20% of our energy from renewable sources by the year 2025. Once that national policy is set, like it has been done in China, like it has been done in Germany, then investments will follow. And just to your point about China's labor rates, this is not just about labor. I mean, Germany jumped ahead of the United States in private sector investment. Mm-hmm. It obviously has a similar labor market to what we have. This is about policy. Policy matters, and that's the point of this report.
When it comes to policy, though, I mean, in many ways, the world changed with what is happening in Japan and their experience trying to contain nuclear energy supply from becoming nuclear disaster. President Obama wants nuclear energy as part of an all-encompassing clean energy initiative here. Does that become a main sticking point? I mean, it seems such an obvious issue.
Yeah, I think clean energy, the nuclear is going to be in the mix somehow. But if we don't get on record as a nation with having a commitment to weaning ourselves off of foreign oil, for example, I mean, all this stuff that's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Japan, how is Japan going to make up for that loss of nuclear energy? I bet a portion of it is going to be purchasing oil on the global markets. For us as a nation, we've got to do two things. One is become more independent from our reliance on fossil fuels and foreign oil, and the second is create jobs in America. Those investments in those other countries meant that jobs have followed. China makes half of the wind turbines now, makes half of the solar panels. But that trajectory, as I mentioned, since 2004 has been so steep, it will continue to climb. But the urgency of the matter is critical because these job providers are deciding right now where they're going to locate their next factory. Once those factories have been in the ground, it's very difficult to move all of that capital somewhere else. This is why national policy and urgency is the word of the day.
One last question here. We talk to energy CEOs all the time, and they complain in many ways about a more activist EPA under this administration. I mean, to what degree do you think there's truth to that? And also talk to me about the climate in Washington with the chairman of the House Energy Committee, who I know you know well from your home state of Michigan. I mean, how much adversity is in here?
Well, I do think that all of this discussion about the EPA is a great distraction toward the opportunity of becoming independent of foreign oil and of being energy independent and of creating jobs. As Fred Upton knows, in Michigan, because of policy, we attracted 17 advanced battery companies for the electrification of the vehicle because we had state and federal policy working to make those investments in the U.S. If we didn't have that, then those batteries would be manufactured in Asia like they were before 2009. Policy matters, and I hate to see this distraction on the EPA consume everybody's energy. We're not talking, the Pew is rolling out a national campaign for a national energy policy. We're not talking about global warming. We're not talking about climate change. What we're talking about are specific, manageable policies that have overwhelming bipartisan support among citizens in America. 84% of Americans want to see a policy that gets us independent of foreign oil, that makes us rely more on alternative sources, and that makes us more reliant on energy efficiency. That, to me, is a no-brainer, and I hate to see a distraction about the EPA take us off that course.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience with us. We got to leave it there right now, but the conversation obviously is one we'll continue to track.